Okay, picture this. You're standing in Bihar, right? And there's this huge, huge crowd, like millions of women. The energy is just electric. Everyone's waiting for something big, something genuinely transformative. That image, that really sets the scene for our deep dive today. We're going to unpack a really multifaceted speech by Prime Minister Modi. It was given when they launched this new thing, the Bihar Raja Jivika Nidhi Saksakari Sangh Limited.
Right. Quite a mouthful.
Yeah, exactly. We've got the full transcript. And our mission really is to peel back all the layers, you know, the immediate goal, economic help, but also the cultural stuff you brought in, and definitely the politics.
All woven together.
For sure. And we're going to stay objective, obviously. Just look at what the speech tells us about, you know, how things are governed, the culture, the way politics is communicated. So starting off, what jumps out at you first?
Well, what's immediately striking is just how tightly woven it is right from the start. It's not just here's a new policy. No, it's much more. It's kind of a master class in building a narrative. You've got economic strategy. You've got these deep cultural roots being invoked, and yeah, some pretty pointed political comments too. Our job, I think, is to connect those dots for you, the listener. Not just what he said, but why these bits matter and how they fit into the bigger picture in India.
That makes total sense. So let's start at the beginning, this Mangal Kam, the auspicious launch of the Jivika Nidhi Saksakari Sangh Limited. It's not just any financial thing, is it? It sounds quite specific.
Exactly. It's very targeted. It's aimed squarely at women that the speech calls them mothers and sisters who were already involved with Jivika in villages across Bihar.
And Jivika, just remind us.
Right. So Jivika is the Bihar Rural Livelihoods Project. It's this massive state-run program, really successful actually, involving millions of women in self-help groups. It's given them, you know, a collective voice, some economic power already.
Okay, so this new thing builds on that existing network.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's not starting cold. It's adding financial muscle to these groups that are already up and running. The core idea is simple. Give these women easier, quicker access to money, to financial help.
Right.
So they can, you know, grow what they're already doing, expand their businesses. It's about boosting that micro-entrepreneurship at the grassroots level.
One thing that really caught my eye and something the PM stressed was this push for it being fully digital, like accessible entirely by phone, no need to go to an office. How big a deal is that realistically for women in rural areas?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, digital sounds great, convenient, transparent.
Yeah.
But you have to think about the reality on the ground. Do women in these villages have smartphones? Is the internet connection reliable? Do they have the digital literacy skills? These are real hurdles.
Sure, potential barriers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But if it works, when it works, it's genuinely transformative. It gets rid of the needed travel, which can be huge. It puts financial control, like literally in their hands.
Empowerment.
Exactly. It cuts out middlemen, fosters independence. But the investment isn't just tech. It's training, maybe local digital champions, making sure the apps are easy to use. It's a signal, though, a practical, modern approach to getting money to the grassroots.
And you mentioned the cultural framing.
Oh, yeah. He noted the launch was on a Tuesday, Mangalwar, calling it an auspicious day for Mangal Kam, good deeds. Adds that little cultural resonance.
Right.
And he also made a point of thanking the Bihar CM, Nitish Kumar, and the state NDA government. That's, you know, an important political nod, too. Collaboration.
So, okay, this Jivika Nidhi thing isn't just standalone. It's being presented as like a building block for this bigger vision, Viksit Bharat, developed India. How do we sort of parse that? How much is real policy ambition versus the political spin, especially in a key state like Bihar?
Yeah, that's the core analytical challenge, isn't it? The political framing is definitely there. You can't miss it. But the policy ambition seems real, too, and quite broad. The speech directly links this launch to Viksit Bharat. It says, basically, you can't have a developed India without Sashakt Mahila, empowered women. The stated goal is holistic. Reduce the hardships women face day to day. It elevates women's empowerment to, like, a national mission.
So connect the specific action to the grand vision.
Exactly. Make the big dream feel tangible through these concrete steps.
And he listed a whole bunch of other government initiatives, didn't he? Things already happening or planned, covering basics, but also more economic stuff, like millions of toilets built, getting rid of open defecation, A huge public health win.
Huge, yes. And millions of puka houses, permanent homes under the PM Aaj Ujala. And what's really key there, as he highlighted,
Registering them in women's names.
exactly, that's not just symbolic. It gives women actual property rights that boosts their status, their financial security, their say in the household. It's a concrete change.
Makes sense.
Then there's the Hargar Jal scheme, clean drinking water to every home. Think about the time and effort that saves women every single day, plus health benefits.
Right? That's a massive burden lifted.
Then you have Ayushman Yojana, free medical treatment up to 5 lakh rupees, which is roughly, $6,000? A huge safety net against crippling health costs.
Which can push families into poverty?
Absolutely. And the free rations scheme from the central government trying to ease that basic worry mothers have about feeding their kids. So yeah, it's a whole suite targeting fundamental needs first, building stability.
But it goes beyond just the basics, right? You mentioned economic upliftment too. He talked about making women Lakpati Didi
Financially prosperous sisters, yeah.
and drone Didi, women flying drones, and Bangsaki.
Yes, these are aimed directly at boosting income, integrating women into the formal economy, sometimes in really modern ways. Lakpati Didi aims for women to earn at least 1 lakh rupees, about $1,200 sustainably per year.
Okay.
Drone Didi, that's about future skills, high-tech jobs in farming, serving, things like that. And Bangsaki, the women banking correspondents, they're vital for getting banking services to remote areas.
So kind of last mile financial inclusion.
Precisely. And the PM assured that the Bihar NDA government would push these things forward. It underscores this ongoing commitment. So it's multi-pronged: basic needs, health, safety, and then economic independence and integration, framing it all as essential for the nation's development.
It's really interesting how after laying out all these policy points, these economic initiatives, he pivots right into the heart of Bihar's culture, talking about Matru Shakti, mother power. This feels like tapping into something really deep.
Oh, absolutely. Strategically, this part of the speech is brilliant. It grounds everything in culture. He talks about Bihar's long tradition of respecting Matru Shakti, honoring mothers above all.
So the policies aren't just government programs.
Exactly. They're presented as like an extension of these civic traditions. It makes them more resonant, more relatable. He's linking his government's actions to values people already hold dear, builds that emotional connection.
And he used really specific examples that people in Bihar would immediately connect with, mentioning rivers worshipped as mothers, Ganga Maya, Kosi Maya.
Gandaki Maya, Punpun Maya. Yeah, these aren't abstract ideas for people there. They're living realities, deep beliefs. And he brought up Janaki Sita Mata, revered as a daughter of Bihar.
Right. And festivals, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Chati Maya worship, that's huge in Bihar. And this unique tradition of Sat Mani Puja, worshipping 7 sisters as mother figures during Navratri. These aren't just random examples. They anchor the speech firmly in local identity. It shows respect while pushing the main theme.
And then he used that Bihari saying to really hammer the point home, the one about the mother.
Happened na siya tala yoy pantanek se yarap ka tinde si pantinten pe se chakia bate ka ke me delaka chakia chamatene kya chaka.
Yeah, it's incredibly poignant.
It really is. For listeners, the rough meaning is she eats dry, stale food herself to protect everyone's honor. Whoever hurts her won't prosper. No matter how much you love others, no one compares to a mother. That hits hard, doesn't it? That idea of selfless sacrifice.
Yeah. It does. It resonates universally, but especially taps into that deep cultural reverence in Bihar. It elevates the whole discussion beyond just policy. It's about core values.
Right.
And then, crucially, he connects it back, saying that for his government, the mother's dignity, respect, self-respect, these are paramount. It aligns the government's agenda directly with these deeply held beliefs, makes their actions seem like fulfilling a duty almost. Very effective rhetoric.
Okay, so he's built this powerful foundation of cultural reverence for mothers, for sacrifice. And then the speech takes this sharp turn. It becomes very personal, very political. He talked about being deeply pained by alleged abuses against his deceased mother, supposedly from RJD Congress platform.
Yes, this is where the emotional tone shifts dramatically and the strategic purpose becomes much more political. He didn't just say his mother was insulted. He framed it as an insult to every mother, sister, and daughter in Bihar and across India.
Right, broadening it immediately.
Right. That's key. It takes a personal grievance and instantly makes it a collective issue, an attack on womanhood itself. It's designed to evoke widespread empathy, even outrage.
And he backed it up with a very personal story about his own mother, her struggles, raising kids in poverty, working hard, never buying new clothes.
And eventually blessing him to serve Mother India instead of just her. He mentioned she died at 100, had no political connection. It's a powerful narrative.
Very moving.
And rhetorically, it does specific work. By comparing her struggles to millions of poor mothers across India, he makes her story universal. The quintessential Indian mother's story. He even says a mother's place is higher than God's again, hitting that cultural note. It positions him as the humble son of a struggling mother, reinforcing that outsider image.
Which feeds directly into that political contrast he drew, Namdar versus Kamdar. That's a recurring theme for him, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a core part of his political narrative.
Yeah.
Namdar, the dynasts, born with silver spoons, who supposedly can't understand struggle and think power is their birthright. Versus him, the Kamdar, the worker, the son of a poor mother, chosen by the people. His rise, the narrative goes, is something the Namdars just can't stand. It frames politics as a class struggle, merit versus privilege. Classic populism, really. Connecting with the average person against a perceived elite.
And he linked this alleged insult to his mother to past attacks on himself, calling them part of a pattern.
Yes. He recalled times he was called names niche, lowly, compared to an insect, a snake. The point was to frame the abuse against his mother, not as an isolated incident, but as the latest example of this deep-seated hatred from the opposition towards him, the Kamdar. It builds this narrative of victimhood, of being unfairly targeted just for his background.
Okay.
Then he connected this alleged anti-women mindset directly to Bihar's past. He claimed that under the RJD's rule, crime was rampant murder, extortion, rape, and women felt unsafe. He argued women themselves were key in changing that government.
So using historical grievances.
Exactly. And accusing RJD-like parties of still opposing women's progress, citing their alleged opposition to women's reservation, and even insults towards President Murmu, a tribal woman from a poor background. It pulls together many threads: cultural respect for mothers, class politics, women's safety, contemporary political battles.
It builds quite a case, and it doesn't just stay as an accusation, it becomes a call to action. He urged people, especially women, to demand apologies from RJD Congress, not just to him, but to Satbani and Shati Maya, and those slogans.
Mako Gali Sahinj? We won't tolerate abuses against mothers. Is that Fardavar Nahuri Sahinj? We won't tolerate attacks on dignity.
Yeah, those aren't just requests, that's mobilizing people.
Absolutely. It shows how you can weave personal stories, cultural values, and political fights into this really potent call to action. Asking for apologies to the deities elevates the whole thing beyond politics. It makes it a sacred offense. The slogans are punchy, easy to chant. It turns the speech into a rally cry. The whole Namdar versus Kamdar thing, the appeal to protect mothers that defines the enemy and rallies the base. A personal slight becomes a collective battle.
So as he wraps up, looking forward, he circles back to Nari Shakti, women power, saying it remains the government's top priority, promising tireless work, reinforcing that commitment.
Yes, it brings it back to the core theme of empowerment, signaling it's an ongoing mission, not just a one-off event focus.
Yeah.
But then he had something new, another national call.
Hargar Swadeshi. Gargar Swadeshi.
Every home indigenous, yeah. Building on the Hargar Tiranga flag in every home campaign, which was quite successful visually.
And he made it practical right away, telling shopkeepers to display signs. Proudly say this is indigenous.
Right. Karbse kahoye swadeshi hai. It connects this idea of buying local, boosting domestic production, directly to the bigger vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India.
Okay.
And crucially, he ties mothers into this vision too, emphasizing their role, their blessings in achieving self-reliance. It connects women's empowerment not just to social progress, but to national economic strategy and identity.
Weaving it all together again.
Exactly. And he ends with one last jab, suggesting that those who question Bharat Mata, Mother India itself, wouldn't hesitate to abuse his own mother. It ties national pride, mother reverence, and political opposition into one final, emotionally charged point.
So let's just recap this journey through the speech. We started with a specific digital financial scheme for women in Bihar that quickly expanded into this whole narrative about national development, deep cultural respect for mothers, some really sharp political attacks, and then this vision for a self-reliant India, all interconnected.
Yeah, what the speech really does is act like a lens. It shows you the intricate dance between actual governance, potent cultural symbols and very deliberate political strategy in India today.
Right.
It's a case study in how personal stories and huge national goals get woven together in public speeches to connect with people on multiple levels: policy understanding and emotional loyalty.
It definitely uses that emotionally charged language very effectively, connecting policy to these deeply held values, but also to political grievances. So, for you listening, what really strikes you about this mix, this blend of economic policy, cultural identity, and political messaging? How do you think these kinds of layered messages shape what people think? And what kind of lasting impact could they have on the conversation around women's empowerment and national identity in India?
Yeah, something to really think about. How effective is that blend, and what does it mean long term?